everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, obviously from the title, is going to be an IMATS haul. So if you follow me on social media, then you probably knew that I was at IMATS in New York last week, and I'm finally sitting my butt down and going through all this stuff so that I can show you everything that I got. Anyway, if you're curious to see what I brought home from IMATS New York, then you've come to the right video. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So the first booth I pretty much ran to was the Alcone New York booth because they had a few things at their booth that I knew I wanted to get, and I needed to get there immediately before they sold out because I didn't go to IMATS until Sunday, so there was a lot of stuff that by the time I got there was just gone. So I just kind of had to rush to that booth immediately. So if you've seen my makeup show haul, then you probably know that I was going to run to Alcone to grab this stuff again because the Cinema Secrets makeup brush cleaner is like a life-changing experience. So I had to buy another one of the jumbo size of these because I don't know, I use this like it's my lifeline. If you haven't tried it before, it's excellent for when you want to do your spot cleaning. The way that I like to use it is I put it in a little spray bottle, like a little travel size spray bottle, and I spray it on my brushes, wipe them on a paper towel, and they are squeaky clean. It dries super fast and it smells like vanilla, so when your brushes dry, they smell like MAC lipstick, which is kind of nice. The next thing I was running off to Alcone for was the Skindinavia primers and setting sprays. These were almost completely gone when I got there, so I was able to pick up the oil control primer spray and the regular primer spray, and then I also picked up their regular finishing spray. I really wanted to try their oil controlling finishing spray, but they were completely sold out of that one. Actually, they had one, but the girl in front of me grabbed it, so boo. But I did grab 3 of them, and they gave me a free little baby travel size one of the finishing spray. I've heard a lot of people go on and on about how great the Skindinavia's finishing sprays are, and I have tried the Urban Decay ones, which I know are made by Skindinavia, and those are fantastic. And then on top of all of that, I'm kind of obsessed with finishing sprays because it's hot and humid down in Florida, so something needs to keep my makeup in place. Then the last item I picked up from the Alcone booth were the Alcone makeup sponges, and these are just regular kind of wedge makeup sponges, except they are kind of magical. It looks just like a regular wedge sponge like this, except they are a much durable, thicker material than what you would get at Walmart or Target or wherever else you might buy some of these makeup sponges. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw me probably talk about them. I use them to apply my foundation, my concealer, and even powder, and it gives such a beautiful finish. I don't know if it's just the density of the sponge that really makes it so great to work with, but the finish that I was getting from my makeup was absolutely phenomenal. I dare say I like them better than my beauty blender. The bag contains 12 of these little pouches, and inside of each pouch there are 8 individual sponges, so this should last me quite a bit. I like to dampen it up. I squeeze out a lot of the water and use it practically dry, just a little bit damp, apply my foundation, apply my concealer, put it down on a napkin, do my eye makeup. When it's a little drier, I come back and apply my powder with it, and it helps my powder almost just kind of melt into my skin and look absolutely flawless. I was completely shocked. And I have tried that technique for applying powder with other makeup sponges. I know that it's possible to do that and that you do get a beautiful result. I don't know what it is about these sponges, but I was really impressed with how well my makeup just ended up looking whenever I used this. So I'm smitten. The next booth I stopped by was Bdellium Tools. I reviewed some of their brushes recently. I will link that video below. I really do love this brand of brushes. I stopped by specifically to pick up some more of their Tapered contour brush, which I reviewed in that video, and another one of their 776 brush, which is a fabulous dupe for the MAC 217. So I did pick up another one of their Tapered contour brushes, which is the 944 brush if you are curious. And I did pick it up this time from their studio line. Their Maestro line and their studio line use the same bristles in their brushes. The main difference between the two is that the studio line is yellow, the Maestro series is black, a little bit more sleek and professional looking with the black handles and the silver ferrule. But I personally like the look of the bright yellow brushes. And then I also picked up, you saw this box, it contained a 10-piece brush set with a pouch to keep the brushes in. So let's go through all the brushes that are inside that specific brush set so that you guys can see them. So the 10-piece brush set came with the 964 blush brush. It also came with their 769 brush, which looks like this. Also brought their 765 brush, which is like a small angled brush. The 781 brush is also in their kit, and it's kind of like a small tapered crease brush. It's a little bit of a stiffer brush, so I think it's best for maybe like doing a cut crease or really doing like just getting right into that outer C or outer V of the eye, or really for anything that you want to use it for. Then it also came with the 755 brush, which is just this kind of a small detail brush. It also came with one of my favorite brushes, which is the 776, which is very similar to the MAC 217. Then we have a small angled face brush. This is the 942. It also came with a small contour brush, which is the 945. Now this one looks just like a smaller blush brush, but as you can see, it would fit really well into the contours of the cheeks, and it is different from the 944, which I showed you earlier, because it's not tapered. Then it also came with the 955 duo fiber face brush, and finally it brought the 957 almost like flat top kabuki looking brush. And then it also came with this nice black brush pouch. It has like all these extra pockets on the sides too. Yeah, so it's gonna be really nice for when I travel. I also picked up some new nail polishes. These are from the China Glaze Extended Wear line, which is called the Ever Glaze line. It's supposed to be a long wearing polish that's supposed to last up to 10 days, so of course I had to check that out. So I picked up the color Little Boutique, which is a really pretty pale pink. Then I also picked up Don't Grape About It, which is a really pretty kind of purple shade. I also picked up a Floral Essence, which is a really pretty bright coral. Then I also grabbed Paint My Piggies Pink, which is obviously a really pretty pink. And this one has some silver shimmer in it. And then I grabbed Ultra Orchid, which is a really pretty kind of orchid shade. And then if you picked up 5 of their polishes, you got a free Everglaze Active Top Coat, which is supposed to be part of what helps their Everglaze polishes last longer. And finally, they were also giving away a free nail polish. They just had like this little bowl of nail polishes by where you paid, and they were like, oh, you made a purchase. So I don't even know if you had to have a minimum purchase, but they just said you also get a free polish. Just pick one out of the bowl. So I grabbed this one. It's called Tickled Pink by a brand called IBD. Now I know that just a few minutes ago I was going on and on about how I love the Alcone makeup sponges and that I dare say I like it better than my beauty blenders, but I still bought a beauty blender. But before you judge me, wait, because it's not your regular beauty blender. I picked up the big body sized one. Let me finally open it. Now this is like your regular beauty blender, but it's got the egg shape, but it's flat, as you can see, and it's supposed to be for applying body makeup. But I was also told that it made a really good applicator for self-tanning, and I thought, well, now I have to try it for that reason. And because no trip to a makeup trade show is complete without my buying more makeup brushes than I really need, I also stopped by the Cosette booth and picked up 5 of their brushes. So one of the brushes I picked up is their S145, which is a contour brush, and as you can see, it has an angled shape similar to an angled blush brush, but it's just not as thick or as round as an angled blush brush. And I don't know, I'm suddenly like really into contour brushes. I find that they work really well, and I'm kind of I'm kind of digging them right now. Then the next brush I picked up is their D255 brush, and this is supposed to be one of their newer brushes, and it is an eyebrow brush. I love how the shape is kind of big. I was a little bit intimidated, but he was showing me how to use it at the booth, and it just really has a great shape for just getting right under there and creating that shape, and that like nice pointy end really lets you kind of drag out the tail. It's supposed to be really great at just creating a nice sharp line and then really blending it out to make it look natural. I don't know, it looked interesting. It's a little different than the other eyebrow brushes that I had, so I had to try it out. Then no makeup brush purchase experience is complete for me unless I buy blending brushes, because I'm obsessed with blending brushes. So I bought 3 of them in like different sizes. I bought this tiny little one for like really getting into the crease and defining it and blending it out for just more detailed work. Then I bought this kind of normal sized tapered blending brush because I love them. And then I bought this big one because I thought it would be really good for highlighting, blending, obviously, and even applying powder underneath the eye when I want to set my concealer. Then I stopped by the Serenity and Scott booth and picked up just 2 items. I grabbed their eyebrow setting gel, and I bought the color Copper Auburn. She tested it out on me at the show, and it just gave such a pretty color and finish to my brows that I had to try it. And then I also grabbed a lipstick from them, and you're going to see a trend here. I grabbed a few lipsticks in pretty much the same shade. It is my favorite shade of lipstick. It is fuchsia, so I bought this one from Serenity and Scott, and this is in the color Gatsby. Then I discovered this cool brand called Dirty Little Secret, and she makes lipsticks. And I picked up 3 of their lipsticks. These are super creamy, really nicely pigmented, and I believe they're also paraben free. They might also be cruelty free and possibly vegan, I don't know, but I think that's what I remember her telling me. And obviously one of the first colors I gravitated to was a bright fuchsia lipstick, and this one is in the color Poison. This was a little bit brighter than the last one I showed you. That one was a little bit of a darker fuchsia. This one's a little bit more neon-ish. And I also picked up the shade Guilty Pleasure, and this one's almost like a pinkish violet shade. And then the last color I picked out is more of a everyday nude, and this one's called Hopeless, and it's just a really pretty kind of everyday shade. Or I mean, all of them are, you can wear them every day if you wanted to. I'm just saying it's one of those like subdued shades. Then I bought 2 more lipsticks from the Lip Bar, and these are liquid lipsticks. I picked up the shade, another bright pink, big surprise. This one is called Candyland. Oh my god, these are so pigmented and so creamy, and they look so beautiful on. And then I also picked up the shade Dirty Red, which, as the name implies, it's kind of a reddish, it is a reddish tone, but it's almost like a rosy red, a little bit dusty. It's an interesting color, but it was really pretty. Had to have it. Don't have anything like it in my collection, so I needed it. The Lip Bar lipsticks, their lipsticks and their liquid lipsticks are all vegan and natural. So no parabens, no sulfates, and vegan, so they're nice and cruelty free as well. Then I also picked up a bunch of Stilazzi blushes and eyeshadows. They were $2 a piece for these big old, look at how big that is. They have 3.5 grams of product. They also gave me magnets to attach to them so that I could put them in my Z palette. So I picked up this shade MS4, which looks like it would be kind of like a bluish pink shade, or a pink with bluish undertones. I also bought this fun bright matte pink blush. This one is in the shade MB10, which is, this one's almost like a bright corally pink. Then I also purchased the MB16 blush, which is kind of more of a natural, like, nude shade. This is the shade MB19. It's like another kind of nudish, natural looking, like a nude pink blush. This one is a darker blush. I actually thought it was an eyeshadow, and that's probably how I'll probably use it most, because it might be too dark as a blush for me, at least on my skin tone. But this is the shade MB18, and it's almost kind of like a terracotta shade. Then I got this matte shadow in the shade MS44, which is, I don't know, just a really, like a pretty brownish shade. Orangey brown, maybe? Nudish brown? It's a pretty color. And I bought MS43, which is another matte eyeshadow. And this is kind of like a very soft kind of corally pink. It actually kind of looks like my sweater. Then I also bought the shadow, the matte shadow in MS45. MS45 is just slightly lighter than the MB16 blush that I got. They're similar, but as you can see, MS45 is just slightly lighter. Then I also purchased MS08, which is like a really pretty pink. I also thought that this was a blush when I was looking at it, so I'll probably use it more like a blush than an eyeshadow. It's kind of like a pretty everyday, almost warm pink shade. It's almost, I think it looks more like yellow toned than blue toned, but there's the color. And then the last eyeshadow I purchased was a shimmery, it's a pearl finish eyeshadow, and this one is PS26. There's the color. It's just like it was just a gorgeous shade, and I had to have it. Alright, and then the last thing that I got was actually a free sample that they were handing out at the Chaco, I think is how you pronounce it, booth. And this is just their cleansing water, which I think is supposed to be just like Bioderma. So yeah, it's just a travel size cleansing water. So there you have it. That is my IMATS haul. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I will see you again soon. Bye!